So apparently, Tim Walz, who is probably the least likable of the two, who ran against Donald Trump and lost in 2024, has some sharp critiques, according to Politico, of the way that the campaign was run. Let's see what his critiques were. Now, the guy who officially made JD Vance a cool person to root for after that horrible VP debate not even too many months ago is saying here that he should have, and Kamala should have, just rolled the dice and done more town halls where the voters say, hey man, you're full of shit. I don't believe in you. Walz continued, I think there could have been more of that. Now, do I agree with that? Not really. And you could say, well, honestly, yes, Joe Rogan and all these other podcasts, Kamala should have been on. And to be clear, no, because while, yeah, they did lose, and honestly, at that point, you could just throw anything at the wall and see if you do better. And I agree kind of with that notion. Just like monkeys with a typewriter, give enough of a long time, they might make a speech that could make Kamala likable. But that's a theoretical. And in this case, I think that Tim Walz doing more town halls would have made him look ridiculous. We have so many flip-ups where he says very stupid things. Such gems as this one.
They have nothing.
We don't have the 10 Commandments post in our classrooms, but we have free breakfast and lunch.
He thought that was a cool thing. He looks so effeminate, super gay. Very obvious.
Have you ever seen the guy
As 50 Cent once said, this guy's not in the closet, he's out in the hallway.
laugh? That seems very weird to me that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. Imagine when I go home and
Okay, so think about that. This guy, Tim Walz, is chastising somebody of the likes of J.D. Vance over him being weird. And then we saw that debate stage where he said that he was friends with school shooters. And my only problem with that, to be honest, is not the obvious, but the fact that he even claims he has friends, because it's clear that he does not. Look how giddy he gets when like a girl wraps her arm around him as if it's like his own child or something. It's a little disconcerting. Not quite Biden level, but at least Biden was straight.
night, I pick up the Frisbee and throw it, and my dog catches it, he comes over, he gets the belly rub for being a good boy. Picture these guys doing that kind of stuff. They just can't. People like JD
Who cares about your president being able to throw something at a dog and then tickling it after?
Vance know nothing about small-town America. Their
Ironic.
policies are what destroyed rural America. They've divided us. What Kamala Harris knows is
Yeah, divided the country into a majority of the states voting for Trump Vance and the popular vote also going to them.
People together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle class, healthcare that's affordable and accessible. Those are the things. You look what they're talking about, they went right to division. Taking the country forward with a positive message on things that work, that's what people are inspired about. I'm telling you, they got
Okay, so I mean, that's basically the sort of caliber of town hall that we were anticipating, according to this guy, Tim Walz. And allegedly, that was supposed to somehow win them the election. And also, Tim Walz has the false notion that they could have even won the election, which I just severely doubt. I mean, winning, if you're Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, in 2024 is akin to basically if you were planted into Adolf Hitler's position the day after D-Day. It's like, dude, it's over. It's over. It's a matter of time, and you suck. Now, this one's a beauty, and we love to see it. He says right here, we as a party are more cautious in engaging the media, both mainstream and non-traditional. Now, there's a confession in here. We know that the majority of the media is ran by and funded by the Democrats, USAID, all this sort of thing. And so the fact that they're still trepidatious about talking to the media, which by and large is still favorable to them, is absolutely pathetic. And he's right to point out that they should have probably talked to the media on that basis, just that, of course, them talking more would have just hung them more electorally, hence why Kamala strayed away from the media for, was it several weeks right after the fake nomination, so to speak. And then beside that, it's kind of akin to an analogy where it's like if Trump Vance avoided talking to Sean Hannity, avoided talking to Jesse Waters because they were scared of like getting roasted by the media. And it's like, dude, they're on your team and you're not even taking layups. I mean, how unconfident are you of your wrist that you can't even go for a layup shot? In another self-defeating statement, Tim Walz says that in a football parlance, we were in a prevent defense to not lose when we never even had anything to lose because I don't think we ever had a lead. So think about that. They were never even ahead. Now, isn't it not the case that people were saying that Kamala was going to win the whole time? That liberals, and I know a lot of conservatives believe in Donald Trump, and they rightfully did, and I won thousands of dollars off of betting on the election. But I will tell you that plenty of liberals, maybe half the country, thought that Kamala was going to win. And there were plenty of polls that had Kamala winning even the popular vote. And of course, Team Kamala, HQ, Brett Summer, all these nerds on the internet were posting these polls that were favorable to Kamala. And yes, Trump was winning in the polls on average towards the end of the campaign. I agree. But they were still polls saying that you were going to win. And did you shoot those down? No. Did you ever say you were losing the race before the campaign ended? No. And so again, it just shows that he's two-faced. and he's not even good looking. It's really bad. Here's another problem. So this political writer says Walz, who rocketed from little known governor. So again, if you're a little known governor, you probably don't qualify as VP. Also, to Veepskate's cable news darling. Who the hell liked Tim Walz that much? Okay, to Harris 90-day sidekick. That's not emasculating. Oh yeah, no, it is. Okay, being a sidekick in and of itself is emasculating to any man, especially if you're like 60 years old like Tim Walz is. By the way, Harris is the same age. She just looks like his daughter. Anyway, also to be the sidekick to Harris is like saying you're the backup quarterback to Matt Hasselbeck or you're the backup quarterback to Daniel Jones. I mean, pathetic. Anyway, now, mind you, this political person is most likely a liberal. I don't know who it is that wrote it. I don't care to check. But they're still sweeping it up in a way that is kind of offensive to Tim Walz if I were him, because this person says he was an imperfect candidate himself, including a weak debate performance. That's an understatement. And his self-reflection on Democrats' failure and the accompanying media blitz is partly self-serving. In addition to leaving the door open to a presidential campaign in 2028, Walz may run for governor again next year, which, again, there should be term limits in Minnesota. Just the fact that he could be there again is awful news for Minnesotans, but then again, they deserve it for voting for him. So, suffer. Anyway, to further analyze this little blurb here, that debate performance was one to really marvel over, and in fact, it was damn near close to Biden versus Trump in 2024. It was almost that bad. I mean, the only problem is that Biden actually just couldn't finish a sentence, but Walz was damn near close to that. So, anyways, completely pathetic. He got dog walked, and it was awesome. Also, again, if you lost the debate performance, you don't really have a leg to stand on to say you should have done more public speaking, because at the biggest moment of public speaking, you delivered an absolute dud. I mean, it was a Sam Darnold level underperformance, really. Also, of course, this selfish prick thinks he even has a scintilla of a right to run for president in 2028. Why? Why? I mean, he has a worse case than even Kamala, because at least Kamala was more likable, at least in my opinion. Maybe I'm a straight guy and I prefer Kamala over Tim. Okay, but that being said, still, Tim Walz was the worst VP pick in a while. I mean, who was worse? Dick Cheney? Like, Tim Walz did not add anything. He was from Minnesota. Minnesota wasn't really particularly close. He didn't really add too much in the Midwest to begin with. The type of person that would be appealing to Tim Walz, or rather vice versa, would really not be. I just don't see middle class workers or coal miners or anything being so amenable to a guy like Tim Walz, who, while having rhetoric that's pro union tacitly, you have to understand that the guy's not really one of those guys. He's not really one of them. And New York billionaire mogul Donald Trump apparently resonated with more Pennsylvania steelworkers than did Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. So he really doesn't have a leg to stand on. And he doesn't have much clout besides being the VP to a person that only has clout in the first place in Kamala, because she was the VP for a crappy candidate and president in Joe Biden. Okay, now look at this cope. This person says he was underutilized, as in Tim Walz, and that was a symptom of a larger campaign of decision paralysis and decision logjam at the top, said one former senior Harris aide. First of all, why are you shit-talking your former candidate? Okay, that's a bad look. Okay, that's not going to look good on your resume when you try to help Gavin Newsom beat Vance. Anyway, could he have changed a percent in Wisconsin? Maybe. We still lose even if we win Wisconsin. So that's the whole point. Like, what the hell are we talking about? There was no way you guys were going to win anyway. I mean, this is like if you said, well, if Hitler replaced one of his generals with this better one, he would have prevented the fall of France for like another 10 days. It's like, okay, what difference does it make? Even if you won Wisconsin, again, what does it matter? Plus, on top of all that, would he have changed a percent in Wisconsin? I mean, realistically speaking, even if you had the best VP in Earth, okay, like if you picked Josh Shapiro and that really gelled and you lost no Palestinian support from the youth, would that have flipped Wisconsin, which went to Trump by, let's say, 1%? I really severely doubt it, as a VP hardly makes a dent. In fact, they're only really there to hurt you if they do something stupid, like Sarah Palin had many gaffes in 2008. But anyway, that's a debate for a different time. That being said, like I said, Tim Walz probably held back Kamala, and she should have just picked Andy Bashir, but comment down below who you think she should have picked, okay? And like the video if you hate Tim Walz, because I think I agree with you. Okay, then they say, even the aide added, Walz got put in a box and we didn't use him the way we could have. The way they just like dehumanize him to say we could have used him a different way is like what a trafficker would say about a woman. Like, oh, we should have put her on that pole, not this one. It's like, dude, come on. Like, first of all, he's a human being. Second of all, I kind of doubt myself even saying that now that I have uttered it. But anyway, he sucks. And I don't think he had a use that wasn't already exploited in the 2024 campaign, for one. Two, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who's like a BLM radical guy, he sucks. Wished they would have put Tim Walz out there more, because the world seemed to want more Tim Walz. And there were times when I wish they could have gotten more Tim Walz. Okay, so again, these people are living in a bubble. Who the hell wants Tim Walz? Get real. Get real. Good news is that apparently he'll be featured on the Gavin Newsom podcast, which is good content. By the way, I spent like a couple hours recording a reaction to the first podcast he made with Charlie Kirk, and that got copyright claimed, and I'm appealing it. So, anyways, that's too bad. But anyhow, he made a post on Twitter saying that he'll show up to town halls in GOP districts, which I'm hoping he gets heckled at. I hope people give him some nasty questions, something that really gets him stun locked because he's a piece of crap. But anyway, also, apparently, in Montana, where he addressed a crowd of Democrats at a state party dinner, which, by the way, state Democrats in Montana, Jesus. Anyway, Walz told them there was no charismatic leader who was coming to save us. First of all, emasculating. You're a multi-term governor, former congressman, 60-year-old, accomplished person on paper. You ran a national campaign with Kamala Harris, and you have no ego. Apparently, you're saying no charismatic leader. Hello? You're supposed to say yourself, dumbass. You think Trump would ever say that? Like, oh, there's no charismatic person to save the GOP. No, he would say, I'm your future. I am your voice. That's what he would have said. And so this is just pathetic. I mean, he's just saying there's no messiah like Obama. Yeah, no, there isn't. And Obama now, even if he could run, is washed anyway. But yeah, so I mean, no charismatic leader. Well, that's good news because God knows that Pete Buttigieg can't step up to the plate. Silver-tongued sociopath Gavin Newsom has a horrible track record he can't run away from, I think. So I'm glad he says this. He's right. Okay, to save you guys any more acrimony by having to listen to their stupid talking points, the Democrats will be silenced for right now, as I will conclude the video on this note, that Tim Walz is completely wrong about his criticisms of the 2024 campaign. It was really stupid of him to even acknowledge the faults of the campaign, because number one, he was wrong. Number two, suffer. Number three, you're going to look disloyal to Kamala and to the Democrats in general, probably. That being said, everybody involved in this sucks. Like the video if you hate Tim Walz. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Comment down below and I'll respond to you as soon as I can get to you. So anyways, I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.